I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Okay, the mic's on. Okay, it's back. Wow, the green screen is bad. Hey, everybody. Anybody? If anybody's here. I am your Heavenly Father, Kevin Williams. This was the LieStream. And Trump's gone now. So, and my skin has some sort of creepy disease. I have the flesh-eating bacteria. Hi, David Mixon. Congratulations on being first. Hey, LP. Hey, Marcy. Hey, OJ. Hey, LP. Hey, Dave Mixon. Hey, OJ. Hey, Yoshi. Good to see you. So, we're just going to get right into it here. I am live. Good to see you, Wendy. We are going to get going with things. I was just watching our friend Hal Sparks, and his Twitch stopped working, and then he pressed a button and everything shut down. So he gave himself 4 flat tires. And I'm going to try not to do the same thing. Weird things are happening with YouTube today. Weird things are happening all over the place today. And with I don't know what's going on with my hair glowing like this. Maybe if I put my cans on, it'll disguise it somewhat. There we go. I have a little Superman curl happening right now. Oh, I got another curl on this side too. I don't know what character that is. You're watching a QAnon speech? Where's that? On Vice? On the news show? What's that on? Showtime now? I have that. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Hey, Allison. Hey, producer Joanna. Nice to see you as well. Let's take a look here. Do you guys want to watch Biden's speech today first, or do you want to watch the press conference first, or do you want to watch Hannity? Because Hannity just starts right now. We could watch Hannity, and we could talk about that. I've been watching Hannity. It's so pathetic. Hannity, within like 10 minutes of Biden being sworn in, was like, just wait till 2022. The American people will not stand for the... Dude, you just lost all the elections. All of them. Maddow was interviewing Schumer. I hate all of that. Should we watch that? Hey, Dr. Howard. Good to see you. Hi, Check. Hi, Debbie. Let's check in with our friend Rachel Maddow. Does anybody need Kleenex before we get going? By the way, quick aside. Got myself a Fire TV stick, the 4K. It was like half price on Amazon, but it's not a thing. They'll just offer to you or not. I'll tell you something. I love this Fire TV stick. I have a Roku already. I needed one for the big TV in the house, and I love it, especially since they have Alexa, play It's Raining Men. Since they have one of those devices, and that you can control. I was watching YouTube. You don't know what's going to work. There's probably a guide somewhere that tells you what you can tell Alexa to make the Fire Stick do to your TV. I was watching something. Ads came on YouTube, and I just said, I'll give it a shot. Alexa, skip the ads. It skipped the ads. You get to skip ads, but do not skip the ads if you're watching this broadcast. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. A lot of people have the Fire Stick, yeah. And there's all kinds of things you can do with them, too. They're Android-based, so they're much more open to manipulation than your traditional Roku. So I like a lot about that. And so far, I haven't discovered anything that the Roku can do that the Fire Stick can't. That's really not germane to this discussion. Let's go find our friend Rachel Maddow and see what she has to say about things. Here, I'll pull her up. Oh, here's Rachel with Dr. Fauci from the other day. Alexa, bring Heavenly Father and family into my bedroom? Oh, you can. On the Alexa, you can watch YouTube over Alexa. David, what kind of heat source did you have before that? Let's go to Rachel here. Rachel and the Stranger.
Who did get it. I know
What?
That's a new focus, too. What can you tell us about if anything's on the horizon in terms of treating
Here we go.
people
This is
who are
live.
already sick?
Wait, she doesn't have Chuck on yet, does she?
Flu, the worst.
Oh, she does right away. Okay, hold on. Let's go back. Oh, so this is taped earlier today.
And that is the formal start of the Senate putting President Trump on trial. The Senate at that trial will now decide.
If you have a Roku, there's no reason to go get an Alexa unless you want to be cool. But if you're going to choose between the two, every review I've ever read has been like, well, the Roku boots up in 2.4 seconds, so it doesn't really matter. No, there is so much more you can do with the Fire Stick. The Fire Stick is like the Android of the phone world. Yeah, no, the iPhone's great and it's all locked down, and if you've got a 3-year-old, you can give it to your 3-year-old.
Whether or not to convict President Trump on that charge. And if they do convict him, they will decide whether Mr. Trump should then be banned for life from ever holding federal office again. The new Democratic leader of the Senate, as this all is happening, is Chuck Schumer. The impeachment, the urgent COVID relief bill.
I'm just going to interrupt her for a second here. And there's a lot of talk right now from the Republicans saying that trying someone after they've left office is unconstitutional. So you've been impeached, you've left office, can there still be a trial in the Senate? Well, they answered that question. In 1876, they took a vote in the Senate. And the Senate, which at the time was 66 members because we had 33 states, the Senate voted 37 to 29 that, yeah, you can have a trial. And they did. William Belknap, 1876. My brain says 37 to 29. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what it was. They've not only done it, they voted on whether or not they had the jurisdiction to do it and decided, yeah, we do.
The confirmation of President Biden's new
Did Rachel tell you that they had a vote as well? Did she tell you that? I think maybe.
Cabinet, all of these things all need to be done all at once. They have all landed in his lap all on day one. Not to mention responsibility for passing all the legislation that the new Congress and the new administration are pursuing. But it's interesting. Senator Schumer is taking over in the Senate right now with the Republicans, newly ousted from power, with them trying to pretend like they're still in charge. Like they're still the ones who get to say what happens in the Senate and what doesn't happen in the Senate.
They are. They're the Republicans. It's ridiculous. And it's all trying to trade favors right now to work towards Trump being impeached, which is not what anybody wants to happen, except the Republicans. That Chuck Schumer would be so much happier without Trump running in 4 years.
Literally, Republicans tonight are still chairing all the committees in the Senate, even though they're in the minority now. Republicans are simply refusing to allow the new Democratic majority to take over, even though the Republicans were voted out. From day one, they are already pushing it to crisis.
Not only, whoa, hold on a second. Not only did the Republicans not win the Senate during the general election, then 2 months later we had the special election in Georgia where 2 seats were up in the same state and they lost both of them. And everybody knew if they win either one of these seats, they can maintain control of the Senate. If they lose both of the seats, they have to lose both. The Democrats have to sweep in order for the Democrats to take over power. And that's what happened. The people of the United States chose Joe Biden and specifically Kamala Harris because she becomes the deciding vote in the Senate. And then the people of Georgia specifically chose not 1, but 2 senators. Let's go back to the beginning of...
Republicans are simply refusing to allow the new Democratic majority to take over, even though the Republicans were voted out. From day one, they are already pushing it to crisis. I spoke with Majority Leader Chuck Schumer about it all today at the LBJ room at the U.S. Capitol, which is just off the Senate floor. Joining us now for the interview from the glorious LBJ room at the Capitol is the newest master of the Senate, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Senator Schumer,
Hi.
it's great to see you.
Great to see you. First time here in Washington. We always see each other in New York.
Yeah, it is, actually. The last time that I was in this room, I believe I was interviewing the Democratic leader at the time, Senator Harry Reid.
There you go.
But you are, I mean, you're in charge now. Having known you for a long time and having followed your career, I just have to ask if you knew this was where you were headed. I mean, back to New York Assembly days and everything. Did you know?
No. You know, I started out in the Assembly. I was 23. I'd worked for a law firm for a summer. I was pushing a pencil for somebody I didn't know, somebody I didn't care about. And my dad had this small, junky little exterminating business, and he would pace the floor Sunday nights at 2 a.m. He hated going to work.
Okay,
And I hate
I don't care.
politics. My parents wanted me to go to this law firm. I hated it. And
I don't care.
and I don't mean awesome in the way my daughters, when they were teenagers,
Oh, stop.
it's something that's very, very serious, and you got to really put all of yourself into it.
Tell me about that joy, because I think a lot of people have
No, I
lost
don't care
faith.
about his joy.
People can't get vaccines. Right now, people are losing. So there's climate, there's economic inequality.
Okay, climate change, yeah.
We just in the Senate took a bill that was H.R. 1 in the House and named it S1, making our democracy better. There is so much to do. We need strong, bold action, and we've got to get it done. One way or another, we've got to get it done.
Well, how is it going to get done? I mean, we are in an unusual situation right now where you are the majority leader. On paper, the Democrats are in control of the Senate, but right now, Republican chairmen from the last Congress are still sitting there. You and Mr. McConnell, Senator McConnell, appear to be at an impasse in terms of the organizing resolution of the Senate.
Yes.
How is that going to end?
Well, let me tell you how it's going to end. Traditionally, the organizing resolution should be a pretty routine thing. The Democratic leader, the Republican leader, no matter who's in the majority, minority, sit down and just hammer it out. It's a little different now because it's 50-50, but we've had a precedent. It was 50-50 back in 2001.
Dr. Howard, I cannot share that. I cannot show that to people. Plus, I don't think it would read very well when you throw all the computer pressure. But oh God, I don't want to look at that. Oh God.
And Democratic leader Daschle and Republican leader Lott got together and worked out an agreement that most people think was pretty down the middle and fair. The first day I went to Mitch McConnell and I said, let's do that resolution. Let's just do it the way they did it in 2001. And he went to the floor and said, I won't do it unless you Democrats do this, demand what I want. He is not the majority leader, he's the minority leader, and he is not going to get his way. We are not going to do what he wants, and that is universal, Rachel, in my caucus, from the most liberal to the most conservative. We hope in the next day or two he'll come to his senses and take our offer. But we are not giving in to him. It was outrageous what he did, and it really angered my entire caucus. That was not the way to start off.
If what he's demanding is that you take the reform of the filibuster off the table, which is both a process thing, which I think most people are alienated by even the word filibuster, but also potentially the key as to whether or not any major legislation is going to pass. If he does not change his mind on that over the next couple of days, can he, in effect, use the filibuster to keep you from claiming power as the majority leader? Can he stop this in its tracks?
I've been thinking about this. Stay tuned.
You have tricks up your sleeve?
Stay tuned.
Okay. Well, let me ask you about the filibuster.
Okay, so well, I'll let her talk a little bit more about the filibuster, but this is not unsolvable. But there are tricks up the sleeve.
There is definitely a diverse.
Right now, they're trying to dance the delicate dance of we want you guys, 17 of you guys, to vote to convict Trump. That's what we want, so they're not railroading the Senate right now, the Republicans in the Senate. And Mitch McConnell knows that. But Mitch McConnell wants Trump gone, So Schumer, although he has tricks up his sleeve, is just playing into McConnell's hands, which is the way it always is.
Of opinion within your caucus on that. Senator Sinema, Senator Manchin have, for example, expressed reservations about getting rid of that. But lots of other senators and lots of people who are strong stakeholders within the Democratic Party say that there's too much to get done right now to let that get in the way. And there's no reason to expect that any Republicans in any significant numbers, let alone 10 of them, will cross the line on anything.
Yes.
Where do you stand?
How long do we have to keep electing Democrats who are under the mistaken impression that the Republicans are going to eventually just be good people? Am I saying that all Republicans are bad people? Yes, of course not. But in the Senate, yeah, that's the way that it works. You might get 1 or 2 or 3. Filibuster doesn't... wait, I really don't know, Kevin. Do you not know what filibuster means? Or are you... Oh, babe, you're just filibuster. Yeah, no, that's... Pittsburgh specifically is the filibuster.
Caucus is united with the belief that I have.
Filibuster? I don't even know her.
We must get big, strong, bold things done.
Oh, I thought he was going to say big, strong, bold men.
That's a bottom line. If we don't, I worry about the future of this democracy. If people continue...
Everybody worries about the future. Okay, what just happened?
Oh, why? What's happening? Heather Boucher.
All right, this is what we're watching,
Thank you so much for making time tonight.
Thanks, Chris.
That is All In on this Monday night. The Rachel Maddow Show starts right now with Rachel's exclusive interview with the new Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer.
On the Recovery Act as well.
President around. Look how close.
Going to vote for it anyway.
Our North.
And then they still didn't vote for it. We saw it on the recovery on the table. I feel like as an observer.
A proposal. Biden's Build It Back Better, which obviously not let Mitch McConnell dictate to us what we will do and not do, period. And these first 5 days we can use right now and will not hesitate to use them if Republicans continue.
Okay.
Big legislative lifts on the table. I feel like as an observer of that process, as somebody reporting on that process, I learned a lesson.
Okay, filibuster? Babe, do you seriously not know what filibuster means? I'll tell you. For those of you watching that don't know what it means as well. So a filibuster is basically this weird thing that the Senate has. Keep in mind, the Senate has very few actual rules. The Senate rules are made up as they go along, and they can either go with the precedent or they can explode that precedent and just decide what they're going to do. For example, up until now, the Senate rules for impeachment were the impeachment articles are delivered by the House, and then the next day at 1 o'clock, the trial starts. That's it. That's in the rules. At the very latest, the next day at 1 o'clock. Well, today, the articles of impeachment were delivered to the Senate. I didn't see it happen, but I assume that actually happened. And then tomorrow, the impeachment trial starts. No, they just decided, no, we're going to do that in February. So no impeachment trial tomorrow, which is fine. Now, the filibuster is when one senator can object to something happening and go up and endlessly speak and just delay any... You can filibuster, which means just to speak endlessly on anything, and they'll go up there and they'll read a book. Powerful cinematic entertainment. With the powerful quad-core processor, you can instantly access 4K Ultra HD. Ted Cruz went up and read Green Eggs and Ham. You can read from a phone book. That's what a filibuster is. You're just delaying things from happening, and the only way to end a filibuster is to get 60 votes against the filibuster to stop the filibuster, which is called cloture, and then that ends the filibuster. So really, in order to pass anything in the Senate, after a period called reconciliation, you need 60 votes. You don't really pass things out of 100 senators. You don't really pass things with 50 votes because any senator can decide, or a group of senators can decide, you know what, we're just going to delay this. You're not going to get anything done, and we're just going to, because we don't know. So the Senate essentially has, on many things, a 60-vote threshold. Now, on budgetary items, during a period called reconciliation, which is at the beginning of the, right now, you can pass things, budgetary items, with 50 votes. Judges, for a long time it was 60 votes for a judge, and then, what was his name? Harry Reid, the Democratic leader, back around 2010, decided, no, you don't need 60 votes for a judge. We're just going to have 50 votes for a judge. And then Mitch McConnell said, okay, because you did that, we're going to only need 50 for a Supreme Court justice. And so now that's called the nuclear option, when they decide you don't need 60 votes, we need 50 votes. Is that a little bit dramatic? Yes, that is entirely dramatic, but they call it the nuclear option. So that's what the filibuster is. Filibuster is forcing 60 votes on any given vote. And apart from a few budgetary items. Now, what the Democrats can do, since they're in power now, and they have 50 votes plus one, because Kamala Harris becomes the deciding vote, being vice president, which makes her president of the Senate, they can decide to change the rules at any time with 51 votes. But there are consequences to that. For example, they do need two-thirds of the votes, 67 votes, in order to convict Trump on impeachment, which for some reason they want to do. Is it the right thing to do constitutionally? Absolutely, 100%. Is it the right thing to do for our country? No. No, it is not. How many votes would it take to make medical marijuana legal with a prescription across the entire country? That would not be a budgetary item, so it would take 60 votes. Or no, that not everything takes 60 votes. Here's the deal. If nobody filibusters, it takes 50 votes. It's that simple. If one senator, a Josh Hawley or a Ted Cruz or whatever, had objections against it and decided to filibuster, oh, come on. It's ridiculous. Then it would take 60 votes. But technically, it only takes 50 votes.
Yes.
I watched with Obamacare, with the Affordable Care Act, the Republicans insisted that there not be any single-payer option, there not be a public option,
Right.
Had to be based around the private insurance companies, and they insisted on all these changes that were made for them, and then they didn't vote for it anyway.
Right.
And on the immigration bill, they insisted that their priority, deportations, all that be done up front.
Oh, boy. Okay, Debbie's asking about minimum wage math. Tell me what specifically you're asking about minimum wage math. And here's another thing about minimum wage. Minimum wage, the $15 minimum wage, is in Biden's rescue package, which is just... I know that the Democrats have control of everything right now, and they could just pass it through if they wanted to. And they could pass it through quickly because the rescue bill is actually budgetary. So they could say, well, it's a budgetary item, 50 votes, filibuster doesn't apply, no cloture, nothing's needed, 50 votes, it's a budgetary reconciliation, blah, 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 and it passes with 50 votes. And they wouldn't need a single Republican vote. But having that minimum wage in there opens up a whole can of worms and dumps it right into my unemployment check.
President Obama.
Pork, log rolling, whatever you want to call it, it screws up the process. But the Democrats think they can get it passed because if they put it in with that, if they put it in as pork with that bill, then in order to say, hey, I don't want $15 minimum wage, Republicans would also have to say, hey, I don't want everyone to get a $1,600 check. They'd have to vote on that. And they do have to vote on it now because the Democrats control the Senate. So Chuck Schumer, who's over there right now, he decides what goes up for a vote. And that's why it's important to control the House and the Senate.
Obama did all that up front, and then they still didn't vote for it. We saw it on the recovery.
Minimum wage doesn't mean prices go up at all. In fact, minimum wage has very little effect on the prices of everything. Labor costs may increase. I mean, they have to increase. But on the other hand, things are evolving all the time. The city of Seattle had a $15 minimum wage, which went into effect over a period of years, back in 2010, 2011, something like that. But it eventually brought it up to 2015, and the economy of Seattle was gangbusters. Yes, there were fewer people employed in the restaurants, There's a, it affects the servers. That's who it affects. Here's the thing. I was talking to restaurant owners and they were doing better than they ever have because the dynamics of how restaurants work has changed so drastically. Kevin Lee Daughter is working at, I guess you'd call it a restaurant, but it's just a takeout, like a coffee place that serves meals as well. So if you want, I don't know, French toast, I don't know what's on the menu there. If you want French toast or an egg salad sandwich or whatever, you call up this place, or you use DoorDash, or you use Uber Eats. This place that doesn't have a functioning cash register has 4 tablets that say one is Uber Eats, one is DoorDash, one is another. Kevin Lee Daughter, if you're listening, the media would reward. Oh, she's right there. Look at that. Were you watching, or could you just hear me?
No, I heard you say my name.
Oh, okay. What the little place that you work? You don't have to say the name of it. What they have? DoorDash. What else do they have?
Grubhub.
Move closer.
Eats.
Grubhub, Uber Eats.
Yeah. That's it.
And people call in, and can they order on the website?
No.
Okay, so they call the orders in.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of people call the orders in compared to using the apps?
Oh, very few. We only get like 1 or 2 a day on phone call, and then maybe like 4 or 5 on.
Everybody's using the apps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
But people come in and order mostly.
Okay. Thank you. In Seattle, everybody orders via the apps. And then so the workers that were working as working in the restaurants, that remember 6-7 years ago, there were no Uber drivers. There were no Grubhub drivers. There were no whatever drivers. Now those people are driving those. Are you still in the poverty range for the country? Everything will be adjusted. So in Seattle, the poverty range is something different than it is in Oklahoma, for example. The interesting part is what happens when you make it universally across the country. Because $15 in Oklahoma is something very, very different than $15 in Los Angeles. $15 in Los Angeles is like, well, I can't afford to pay rent if I make minimum wage, but it's something. I can get a couple of roommates. $15 an hour in Oklahoma. In fact, so I used to have a limo company, and in Springfield, Oklahoma. No. Missouri. Springfield, Missouri is the limo capital of the country for a couple of reasons. It's centralized, so you can drive from anywhere, but mostly there's a workforce that you can pay very little, but if you're paying them very little, they can still live comfortably with a house and a family and a few acres because land and houses are so cheap there. Yeah, in Manhattan, $15 would be considered at the poverty level because of the cost of everything else. So, the bottom line is it pulls up the very lowest section of the economy. The people making $7.50 suddenly make $15. Very few people make $7. That's the federal minimum wage. It's in there somewhere. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly what it is because I can look that up. The bottom line, to answer your question though with the math, is yes, prices will adjust, but $7.75, is that what it is? Hold on, federal minimum wage. There it is. It's $7.25. I was 25 cents off. You can rent 3-bedroom house for $1,000. Jessica, where is that? Because I'm moving there. $7.25 is the federal minimum wage. They said there were doomsayers. Oh my God. In Seattle, there's going to be nobody working because the restaurants. Here's the thing. Those apps, they're doing the work of the wait staff. So you don't need the wait staff. And all of the people that don't come into the restaurant and would prefer to sit at home and watch their Amazon Fire Stick TV in 4K, you don't have to clean up after them in the restaurant. The Uber driver comes in, you hand him the meal, or you hand him 2 meals or 3 meals. Business went up for the restaurants. Because honestly, after coming home from work, after a day, what is it, like 60% of women change into sweatpants and don't want to go anywhere? That's a true stat, by the way. I don't know if that's modern day. That was 10 years ago when I heard that. 675 was the state minimum wage. Thanks for the words saying this. 675 was the state minimum wage in California in 2003, and that's only 50 cents than the federal minimum wage now. Yeah, so it would be best to adjust things by state, but here's the thing. There's a whole bunch of states that haven't changed it in decades. Okay, so let's get back to Rachel here. That's a long, long sidetrack on minimum wage. Will it destroy everything? No, because those people who have been living tooth and nail for the last X number of years, now they've got a little bit of extra money. They can start saving. They can start spending it on education. They can start taking that little extra money, and maybe they'll go out to a restaurant once a month or twice a month, or maybe they'll go to a movie, or maybe they'll spend it on something so that money gets circulated back into the economy. Or they move into a nicer place and open up the last place for somebody else, or maybe they start a family, or maybe their school, they buy paper for the school. When my kids were in elementary school, they kept asking us to supply paper and pencils and stuff like that. I was like, all right. That extra money, that's trickle up economics. The Congressional Research Service looked into it, and they've done it twice now. And in 2012, I think? The Congressional Research Service, which is the bipartisan section of the government under the Article 1, that just does research and comes up with, hey, here's, for example, what do we do in an impeachment? The Congressional Research Service will look at that. What do we do with the Electoral College? How does the electoral count work? The Congressional Research Service looks into that and says, here's a bipartisan report. This is how it should work. This is how it's done. Because they have access to all the history of the United States. They did a study, I want to say in 2012. Somebody can look it up or don't. Just trust me on this. They did a study on trickle-down economics, and what they concluded was it doesn't work. It's never worked. There's no reason why it should work. Just because you get a tax break, you're a corporation, and you just got a $5 million tax break, doesn't mean you're going to hire a bunch of employees for demand that isn't there. You hire more employees when you need more employees. You don't just create jobs. Demand has to go up for your product. Basic economics. I don't know what cocooning is. Rick M says somebody on Reddit has said that in Washington they raised the minimum wage to $14 an hour since 2011. That's not accurate, but yeah. Who owns a restaurant and found that prices in store increased only like 10% on mostly food cost related items. Yeah. Some restaurants went to tip is included. Some went above that. I forget what it was. So we got a lot of Seattle people. Do you remember what happened? Like Arvars decided like, don't tip our people. They get an automatic tip, which was lower than, because I like the discretion as a customer, I don't like the concept of tipping to begin with, but I do like I'll tell you a story. I'm going to try and complete one sentence here tonight. And that was it. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, actions speak louder than words. Florio. Not sure what that means, but I like it. When I was a man who ate fries, I don't eat fries so much anymore. Fries are, you're taking nature's perfect food. God gave you the potato and said, hey, here's a food on which you can pretty much live on potatoes alone. Here's your edible starch. You can put stuff on it. It tastes good. Don't try eating on potatoes alone. It's not a good idea. It's very low calorie for what you get. You want to lose some weight? Start eating more potatoes. Fill yourself up with the potatoes, right? You take that food, and the humans took that food and said, how can we make this into pure evil? Look at how much it absorbs this fat. And there you have French fries. And just in case your heart can handle the fat, let's salt that fucker down. Yeah! Let's really give your body a run for its money. So, I like fries. Everybody likes fries. So I used to order fries in restaurants. This is what I started doing at some point. When I order the fries, You got to have your fries hot. Not too hot. You don't burn yourself. Don't try this at home. Don't try this in a restaurant. Does anybody not have... Jessica made fries tonight. Case in point. Judges? Judges say you did the right thing, Jessica. By the way, get yourself a deep frying... No, an air frying stick from Amazon. Make yourself some air fried fries. So much better for you. Potatoes, I'll say it right now. Potatoes are not a vegetable. They are too good and handy to be a vegetable. Vegetables have to taste bad, and potatoes just don't. They're beautiful. Avocados, not a vegetable. Tomatoes, sometimes a vegetable. Sometimes not. Depends on how they're cooked. Everybody's got an air fryer, Jessica. At Random's got one. Producer Joanna's got one. You missed the air fryer discussion a few days ago, Jessica. If you did, maybe you were in on the air fryer discussion. Costco. Costco has Emerald Lagasse. Who is it? Emerald. Who's the air fryer? Several of you have the Costco air fryer. We discovered. Michelle doesn't have an air fryer. The Fire Stick. All you got to do is say, Alexa, make me some fries. Done. Air fryer. But you have to have the Alexa enabled air fryer. Rick M bought himself an air fryer. I get that, Rick M. Here's the story. We're never going to cover it. It's going to be a 28-hour broadcast. I haven't done a broadcast in a few days, so you guys deserve it. Burien uses their air fryer every stinking day. Debbie says they all make fun of me because I don't have one. No, Debbie, we make fun of you for so many other reasons. Oh, yeah, I made air-fried gyozas the other day, and I still have, maybe I'll have that for dinner. No, here's what I have to have for dinner. We're gonna get back to the French fry story eventually. I'm going to play Rachel for a couple of minutes. I'm going to show, I have to go get a prop to show you guys the way that I operate. I mean, does anybody want to see it? Does anybody? It's a little story about Kevin. It's a little insight into your Heavenly Father. And maybe you feel the same way. I don't know. If you'd like to hear the Kevin anecdote, just tell me that you want to hear the Kevin anecdote. Otherwise, I'll continue with the previous Kevin anecdote about the French fries, which has to do with minimum wage. It all ties in. Okay, you guys do? Here, you watch Rachel, and I will go get my prop, and then you guys can see what I'm talking about. If she says something interesting, good. Here's Rachel.
Recovery Act as well. They insisted that the Recovery Act be made smaller and significantly less effective, and then they didn't vote for it anyway.
10 years it took to get, because it wasn't deep enough and strong enough. 10 years. We're not going to make that mistake with COVID.
But isn't the lesson there that it's not worth trying to get bipartisan legislation because it will weaken it and make it worse, and they're never going to vote for it anyway?
Our North Star has to be the legislation itself. It has to be big and bold and strong. If Republicans work with us to get good, strong legislation, yes. But I agree with you. I've made these arguments in numerous places. Look at 2008, where we spent a year and a half trying to get something good done, ACA, Obamacare, and we didn't do all the other things that had to be done. We will not repeat that mistake. We will not repeat that mistake. You are right. I think of just what you think all along. And it's a different time. I mean, we've had the most authoritarian president around. Look how close he came on that awful day, January 6th. And the antidote is constructive, strong action by us, by the government. That's the answer, so that when the appeals to bigotry and nastiness and divisiveness are thrown at the American people again, which Trump did, and there are many of his minions who want to do it, people will say, no, we're making good progress. Let's stick with this. But if we don't make progress, bad, bad, bad. We can have really bad solutions. Really bad outcomes. People will say, no, we're making good progress.
The other remedy to what happened on January 6th and the way that Trump...
Okay, for a couple of things, guys. First off, yes. Secondly, Phyllis Hatch, I see you in here. Phyllis, is it okay if I discuss a little bit about the African charity? Because I had a Zoom call with my Kevin Lee Granddad there yesterday. and he talked a little bit about you. I think it's public knowledge already what you did with the African charity. I'd love to discuss it openly, but I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. So we do this, and I'll wait for Phyllis to answer that. If it's okay for me to talk a little bit about what you've done, and it's not a bad thing. What have you done, young lady? And if you'd rather keep it private, I'll keep it private. But I will say this: the folks who watch this live stream, incredibly generous, and the folks who run the charity booksandbricks.org that we raised money for a couple of times this past year, incredibly grateful. And I'm completely overwhelmed with the difference that you folks in this room, that others who watched the broadcast and donated, incredibly overwhelmed with your generosity and the difference that you have made in the number of lives. I don't think you have to live in Africa to realize the difference. When you're making $2 a day, so somebody donating $10 is a week's worth of your effort put towards something about which you care. And it makes a super chat. Hold on. Speaking of money, I'll go back and look at your super chat. I like that, Dr. Howard. You asked a question in your super chat. I'll bring it over here. Here's the super chat from Dr. Howard. And I'll wait for Phyllis to see if Phyllis is okay with me talking about that a little bit more. Hold on. I can't see what you're seeing. There it is. There's Dr. Howard's super chat right there. Her question is, can ratification be used to make medical marijuana legal throughout the country? That depends. What do you mean by ratification? Ratification of an amendment? Tell me what you mean by ratification. By the way, thanks for the super chat. I'm not really sure what you're asking, but are you talking about reconciliation? It's not an amendment. Marijuana is not a currently proposed amendment officially in the United States Congress. And amendments, of course, to the Constitution have to be ratified by the states and the state legislature. So it's a huge process, which is why all of these years later we still don't have the Equal Rights Amendment. And the Democrats winning Virginia a couple of years ago, that was supposed to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, and it hasn't happened yet. If 2/3 of the country, if 2/3 of the country votes and has a certain law, that doesn't make it a national law. There's ways for it to affect if it's challenged in the Supreme Court, and for example, it's declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court to ban the sale of marijuana for medicinal purposes. That's a possibility, but 2/3 states have nothing to do with it. No, unless there's somebody else there who knows something that I don't. Oh, Babe, go. Babe has to rush her mom to the hospital. Please do. Don't type. Just go. Babe, update us when you can. I hope she's okay. Is Stephanie in here, by the way? Stephanie had some sort of procedure. Has anyone seen Stephanie today? Does anybody know how she's doing? Drive safely, Babe. Don't rush too much. And yeah, call emergency medical services if it's an emergency. Go. Call. No, only an idiot would drive themselves to the hospital during a heart attack. I didn't know I was having a heart attack. Plus, the ambulance, the dogs go nuts when the sirens goes off, and I didn't want to disturb the dogs. I'm not that guy. So, the restaurant, we'll do the restaurant and the fries. The state's constitutional convention could add amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Yes, there can be an amendment to the Constitution. That's what I'm talking about. So the states have to get involved with that. So if the states ratified a constitutional amendment, yes, but the United States Congress has to be involved in that as well. Wait, Kevin Lee brother, who's also had a heart attack, is in the room. You didn't drive yourself to the hospital, did you? When you had yours? Didn't you call an ambulance, or did you just go in and say, I feel funny? And that's what a lot of people do, because they have no idea that they're actually having a heart attack. The dogs that it drives, I care about all dogs, not just my dogs. At the time, the day that I had the heart attack, and Kevin Lee brother, who has a dog, he drove himself to the hospital. Yes, that makes sense. It is a family thing. Plus, we're Canadians. It is a family thing because our Bompa, who some people call Pop and some people call Grandpa, but our Bompa in the Williams family, he used to have heart attacks daily. And at one point, he knew he was having one because his little pacemaker was making noise. And he said to Granny, Mabel, call me a cab. So Granny had already called the ambulance, or tried to call the ambulance. You hang up the phone, Mabel. Well, take a cab. I don't want to be a bother. So they get down to the cab, and the cab driver, this is small town Canada, this is Kelowna. I don't know, 50,000 people, 100,000 people, whatever. But they've been to the old folks' home enough, and my grandparents at this point were getting around by cab, but they couldn't drive anymore. Hold on, we might be interrupted. Did you need to interrupt?
Are you about to cry, or have you been crying?
No, why?
Your throat, you're losing it. Your voice.
Oh, yeah, no.
It must hurt right now. It sounds like it hurts. Hi, David. I hope you guys are doing well. Love you. Bye. What? I'm talking to Kevin Lee Uncle.
Yeah. You don't get that on other live streams. Could you, speaking of throats, could you refill my...
No.
I've given all of these people. They're giving my throat. I did a voiceover audition earlier today where I was talking like this.
We're going to watch Emperor's New Groove soon.
Oh, we're going to watch Emperor's New Groove tonight, apparently. So, and she wanted you guys to know that. So we'll go back to the story about the French fries. This is what I do when I was a man who ordered French fries. I'll say a boy. When I was a boy who ordered French fries. At one point, I'll take a step back from that. When I get my French fries, I want my French fries hot. You know, they're deep fried. They should be. If they're not hot, there's a problem. I say you're at Red Robin. You're getting your bottomless fries. You want your French fries hot. And I want my ranch. So I can dip the French fries in the ranch or the barbecue sauce or the French or whatever. You want them crispy. You want them hot. I'm okay if they're not really crispy. I'm okay with that, Rick. I get everybody has a personal, but here's the thing. I want my dipping that I ask for. I want to be able to dip while they're warm. Dipping a warm fry versus dipping a cold fry, night and day. French fries are an autism food group. That is true. At some point, I can remember I was at a Red Robin, and I asked the waiter or waitress, I think it's a waiter the first time, it doesn't matter. I said, hey, can I get some French fries? I want the bottomless fries, and can I please get some ranch to dip that in, please? Can you bring that with the fries? Okay, sure, yeah. Or, no, you know what it was? She's like, oh yeah, sure. Didn't write it down. Just, yeah, sure. We have in my family something that they call KEVMA. Customer Service Karma, which eventually became KEVMA. Because I rarely get what I order. I don't. I order cable, for instance, to my house, and it takes 3 guys showing up 3 different times, 3 different appointments to actually connect the cable to my television so that I can watch the cable. The first guy doesn't have the right drill. The second guy comes out and says, I don't have the right drill. Nobody said to bring the right drill. The third guy comes out and leaves his drill. So that's how things work in my family. Gravy. Bring the gravy with it. So here's what I did at some point. I said, can I get the ranch with the French fries, please? And here's what I did. I reached back, pulled out my wallet. I pulled out a $5 bill and told everybody at the table, if the ranch comes with my fries, if she brings me my meal and the fries are there and the side of ranch is with it, This $5 bill, I'm just going to hand it to her right now. Right now. Thousand Island, whatever it is, whatever that sauce is, whatever I've ordered, that $5, I will pick it up and say, thank you for bringing me my ranch on time. This is for you. I am now 51 years old. I have probably ordered fries because meals come with fries, you understand. I don't just go, I'm not a fry guy like the McDonald's characters. By the way, what happened to the fry guys? Where did they go? I haven't seen them for years. Do you guys remember the fry guys? I got like 30 stories about the fry guys, but we'll try and stay on task. Rick M's like, I hate Thousand Island. No, I don't want Thousand Island. You know what I want? I want ketchup, mayo, and relish. That's what I want. Boy, the kids who start with Rich or Rick, they do not like the ranch, Sam I am. I'll take ranch on anything. I will take ranch on nothing. If it was cardiologically feasible, I would just right out of the... Did I ever hear of mayo chup? No, but I did discover Cranch. I invented Cranch. And now they actually sell Cranch, and I don't get a piece of it. And that's wrong. I'll let you guys keep discussing that, but somebody, out of the 400 to 500 times in my life that I've ordered something that came with fries, and I've said, can I get the ranch or whatever I happen, like an aioli, if you're in a fancy place, with those truffle fries, may I have some aioli, please? Garlic aioli, if you have it. How many times have I given away the $5 bill? Because I'll still do it to this day. I'll take out a $5 bill and say, if I get what I asked for, I will give you this $5 bill. I don't tell them, I tell the people at the table. How many times in my life have I given away the $5 bill to the wait staff who brings the ranch on time? Oh, by the way, I will even give it to them if they bring the food and they go, oh, I was going to get you ranch. I'll be right back. Boop, 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 boop. There's your ranch. Because usually when you first get the fries, you got to let them sit or you're going to be for a world of pain. LP's guess is 5. Judges? No, it is not 5. Melissa McCarthy on SNL drank right out of the bottle of ranch. Yes. I have, hold on. I might be able to pull up. Oh, I know I can. I know I can do this. This is insane. But yeah, this is a real thing. This is an honest to goodness, real thing. It's called Cranch. Right there. A combination of ketchup and ranch. They sell it pre-mixed because you know how much hassle it is putting like 2 bottles of condiments? No, sir. This is America. I will not waste my time with that. Completely unfacetiously, I use Pert Plus shampoo and conditioner in one because who has the time? I don't. There's limited enough shower space as it is, people. Go to Pert. Plus, it smells lovely. I think, smell my hair. Smell my hair. Hold on, I got closer. Smell that. See? It's nice. It's delightful. Did anybody else have a guess? I don't know how far the chat is behind. I might just give you the answer. We'll watch a little bit more, and I'll watch the chat to see if there's any more guesses.
Administration ended is, of course, impeachment, and
Yes.
there's
Jessica guesses 9. Judges? Nope. Dr. Leia, 4,200 is close. You're close. At random, what was your guess? Tell me what your guess is. I'm going to go back to the YouTube chat so I can see what you guys are. Whoa. Chuck and Christopher Ryan and Rick. Debbie 0, LP 0. Nope. We're guessing on how many times. Chuck says less than 10. That is correct, but I'm looking for a specific number. One time, the number of times that I've given away the $5 bill if they bring my ranch with my fries. The number of or if they just remember, I'll be right back with your ranch, and they do that sometimes. Be like, and I'll be right back with your hoagie sandwich. Winner, we have a winner, LP two times. Debbie, you're correct as well. 2 times in my life, I've gotten the ranch with the fries without having to ask a second time. And both times, I've taken that $5 bill. Thank you very much. One time, I was with a group, a large, what was it? My soccer group or something like that? I forget who it was. But they applauded at the table. Everyone applauded. and I told the waitress, I said, really? You're too smart to be doing this job. And she's like, I'm in school for the... I was like, okay, great, good for you. Not that smart people can't do that job. Not that waiters and waitresses aren't smart. But you don't want to be working for minimum wage for longer than you have to, unless you live in Missouri, where you can get 100 acres plus a house working for minimum wage. Let's go back to Rachel, and then I'll tell you. You didn't win. Wait, did LP you were the first one? Yes, you were the first one, and then Debbie got it as well.
Tonight, we'll see the article of impeachment conveyed from the House to the Senate. Now, Senator Leahy is going to be the presiding officer for the impeachment.
How many times Rick have they given me the fries and say, I'll be right back with your ranch? Never. It's never happened. It happens to other people, but I have Kevma, so it's never happened to me. I 47,000 times. That's just a guesstimate. I'm just ballparking it for you guys, rounding it off to the nearest 47,000ths. I've had will there be anything else? Or they give you your food, they place the food directly in front of you, and then ask, how's everything? Well, give me a moment to...
Instead of the Chief Justice.
Well, here is, first, can I tell you about January?
So anyway, that's relating back to minimum wage. You want to make more than minimum wage? Get yourself a job at, by the way, if you're going to be a waiter or waitress, nothing wrong with being a waiter or waitress. Work at the nicest, most expensive restaurant you can, because your tips are based off of how much the food costs. So if you're serving $10 meals, your tips are going to be way less than if you're serving $100 meals. So find yourself the nicest restaurant. And I have a couple of friends who work in very nice restaurants. Maitre d'. If your restaurant has a maitre d', you're making bank. Even as a busboy, you can do quite well. Are there bus girls? There must be. Why don't we have that expression? Why isn't it bus people now? Yeah, you've taken yes, at random. That happens all the time. You get your food, and you're like, okay, great. And then you're like, and they come by right then when you're up. And they're, how's everything? Rick M. was a maitre d' banquet manager. Yeah, maitre de banquet. David always says, I'm always amused when servers ask if I'm ready to order yet. And when I respond no, they ask, do you need more time? What other possibility is there? No, I need more space. Yes, more time is required in that situation. The correct response is, I'll give you a little more time. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Or, how's everything? I was asked one time. I did. It's a long story. I don't want to go into it. Quick story. This is how your Heavenly Father operates. I was at the grocery outlet the other day that we call the Gross Out. And that's where groceries go to die. It's a discount grocery store. You can buy regular groceries, or you can buy your produce, you can buy your yogurt, whatever. But things are cheap. They get a lot of surplus items. And this is what I saw there. This is Korean noodles. It is the #1 rice bowl brand. They're not. No, it's rice. Oh, yum. That's even better. I wasn't even sure what I was buying. This is it. It weighs 10 ounces right there. It's rice in a creamy yellow curry sauce. right there. Korea's #1 rice bowl brand. 10 ounces. It's pretty hefty. For those of you that are metric and watching, that is, I don't know, like 14 kilos. I have no idea. No, it's about, it's like a quarter kilo. It's like 300 grams. Somebody can do the math on that. I don't care. This was 99 cents, right? And this is one of the microwave it for, oh, okay, well, there's the catch right there. The instructions are entirely in Korean. So, 99 cents. 99 cents. And if you're like me, you love some creamy yellow curry sauce. Up on some rice? Yes, please. Rice being the other perfect food from God. And you can fry rice, but you cannot make it evil the same way you can with potatoes, with French fries. Oh, I'm always talking about grocery outlet. You have one right there, Burian. Creamy yellow curry. It's 99 cents, so I need to eat this. I might have this for dinner tonight. No, you microwave it for 2 minutes and you're done. You have it for dinner tonight, so that, don't talk to me about the sodium, David. You had a worse heart attack than I did. Hold on, how many servings are in here? The writing is too small for me to read. Therefore, it cannot hurt me. That is science. Do you read Korean? Hold on. Let me see if there's some Korean you need to translate. No, that is translated. That is translated. That. Oh, okay. So this says creamy yellow curry sauce on it. Actions. Take a look at the Korean underneath there and make sure that that is also what it says. I might be able to... Oh, boy. That's probably pretty hard for you to read. Let's see if I can focus on it. I think this thing has an actual focuser. Yeah. Is that what I'm actually eating, or is there something else there in Korean that I'm unaware of? I just want to make... I want to make sure that... There we go. That's pretty good. Yeah? I want to make sure that I'm not consuming some sort of animal that I might want to pet at some point. Okay? It's just rice and creamy yellow curry sauce, right? Okay, we'll verify that. And there's your creamy level. Look at that! Korea's #1 rice bowl brand right there. And now I'm out of focus. Hold on. Oh, everything's... Oh! Come on. All right. That, yeah? Okay, good enough. Actions? Did you catch that? Let us know. Let's go back to this. Oh, and here's how, getting back to how I work. I'm going to eat it tonight, and then if it's good, what you got to do with the grocery outlet is go back and buy a bunch of them. It's crazy. Yeah, because they last forever. So you can do that. It does look like corn. Ingredients. Water, rice, something. It's too small to read. Yeah, I saw that joke coming. Does look like corn. Corn is a whole other subject that we won't get into. But that's what you should do. Years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago, I was at Safeway, and they stopped carrying this brand of iced tea. And they were like tea bags. Actually, like real tea. Not powdered mixed iced tea. Ugh, no. So, actual tea bags that you can make iced tea from, which is great if you want to lose weight, by the way. Iced tea, wonderful idea. Get yourself some regular tea, flavored. It's Korean Cuban. It's Cuban as well? All right. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, maybe I will like it. And if I like it, I'm going to grocery outlet. Although I'm really hesitant to make unnecessary trips right now in Southern California because everybody has COVID. Although they just took away the safer at home order in Southern California because apparently infections are on their way down, which is fantastic news. Yeah, because the judges want to leave. I've had them here for weeks now. They want to go home. But no, seriously, it's got to be really, really good for me to go an extra trip. But I do have to make trips to get my French vegetables, salads, etc. Had a salad for lunch. You guys know me and my salads with the giant bowls. Let's go back to Chuck Schumer here.
6, you
Please.
brought it up. For me, this was an amazing experience. Like Charles Dickens in A Tale of Two Cities, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Here's why. Tuesday night was election in Georgia. As it bled into Wednesday morning, I was glued to the TV. I worked very hard for Ossoff and Warnock. I spent 4 months trying to recruit Warnock to run. When Stacey Abrams told me she wouldn't, she said, there's someone better than me. There he was. She was right, as usual. But in any case, at 4 a.m., it's clear they both won. Oh, a majority leader. It's beginning to sink in. But I have to go to sleep because I have to drive down to Washington, get in my car at 8 o'clock, get to Washington, get on the floor of the Senate at 1. Within 45 minutes, a police officer in a big flak jacket and a big automatic machine gun across his way grabs me nicely by the collar and says, Senator, we got to get out of here. You're in danger. I was 30 feet away from those sons of guns. 30 feet away from these nasty, racist, bigoted insurrectionists. Someone told me even during the Civil War, no Confederate flag ever flew in the Capitol.
Yeah.
Even during the Civil War.
Could you hear them? Could you hear them?
Yes, yes. We have to go after them completely. By the way, a little to your readers, the FBI has this website with 700 pictures, and they're asking people to look on it in case they recognize somebody and say, how am I going to know someone? Well, it could be, oh, there's Harry. I went to high school with him in New Jersey. 30 years ago, he moved to Montana.
Fucking Harry. I knew it.
You're encouraging people.
You know what that is? That's all Jersey. Rick, you got to get on that site. Find Harry. You let them know. That's your duty as an American.
To go look at the tips.
To go look at the tips site. Yeah. But in any case, so now we have the trial, and make no mistake about it, President Trump will stand trial, and there will be a vote on his guilt. I hope he's voted guilty. The trial will be done in a way that is fair, but with relatively quickly. The evidence is all out there. Who was the witness? The entire American people. We all saw what Trump did. We all saw what these horrible insurrectionists did. And we're going to have the trial. Now, there will be a 2-week...
Now, watch. Like Hannity tonight's going to be calling... Well, tomorrow night, because this is happening at the same time. Hannity, they're be calling for all Americans to recuse themselves from this trial, because they're all witnesses.
Place where in the next 2 weeks, both sides will prepare their papers. That's actually good for us, because in that first week, this week, we're going to spend time filling the president's cabinet. Very important to do. You cannot have Homeland Security or Secretary of State, or I would even say HHS vacant, given the need for vaccines. And then in the second week, we will begin on the COVID relief.
I do like, though, that Chuck is the senator for New York, and immediately it's the guy from Jersey. That's the guy who did it. Because, true, the judges are from New York. They know.
Bill.
He could have said Long Island. It would have been also accurate. Massapequa, specifically.
President
Nassau. Bunch of Islanders fans.
Biden's $1.9 trillion bill called the...
Where does Sally go? Did she go Columbia? Weren't they driving to Columbia, or they were driving... Does anybody remember? There was a university at the beginning. They were doing a carpool. That's how they met, because one of them... Was it NYU or was it Columbia? I want to say Sally was going to Columbia. I could be wrong.
American, what is it called? American Rescue Plan, American Rescue Plan, ARP. So we'll have some time to do those things. People said, how are you going to get this all done? Well, we said we were going to try to do these 3 things at once: cabinet, impeachment, COVID. And we're making good progress on those. Despite McConnell trying to blockade everything, there are different things we can do to get around them.
Was President Biden involved in advising you at all on what he wanted in terms of the timing of the trial?
Yeah, we talked to the president, and he feels an urgent need. He feels there has to be the trial, like we do. And he feels an urgent need.
Okay, so at random has the answer. He let her off in Washington Square Park. That is accurate. Which is nowhere near Columbia. I should have thought that through. So there was no mention of were they leaving from a college? Was that it? They just graduated, and a friend A friend set them up to drive because Sally was driving to New York, and then Harry spits and the windows closed?
To fill some of these cabinet positions because there's so much to do in our national.
Or was this not a college thing at all? I don't remember.
National security, our domestic security, our health is all at stake. You need people in those positions.
In terms of the way the trial is going to be conducted, you say it's going to be a fair trial, but it's going to be fast.
Relatively quick.
How long do you anticipate it taking?
Well, we'll see. I mean, obviously, I don't think there's a need for a whole lot of witnesses. We were all the witnesses. It's different than the previous trial. And we will not let the Republicans be.
Remember, the Republicans voted against having witnesses in a trial, the first impeachment of Trump. No witnesses in a trial.
Dilatory just to delay it for its own sake so we don't do COVID or don't do anything, but it'll be fair. And we'll see what they've requested. We don't know what the president's lawyer will request. So fair, but not dilatory.
Tell me about having Senator Leahy as the presiding officer as opposed to the Chief Justice.
Yeah, so the Constitution says the Chief Justice presides for a sitting president. So that is not going to be, so it was up to John Roberts whether he wanted to preside with a president who's no longer sitting, Trump. And he doesn't want to do it. So traditionally what has happened is then the next in line is the Senate pro tem. That's the most senior senator on the majority side, and that's Senator Leahy, who's a very experienced man and a very fair man.
And he'll be able to vote still?
Yes, he will still be able to vote.
In terms of the accountability for what?
I would prefer one of the justices, but if Justice Roberts doesn't want to do it, okay, what are you going to do? You could have another justice sitting. Again, they make up the rules as they go. The Senate is just a mishmash. But the presiding officer over all you're doing is sort of keeping track of things. You're not making any major decisions in the trial. You're just accommodating all of the rules, which again can be made up as they go, which is they'll set the rules for the trial before the trial, and then
happened. There's a single article of impeachment, but there's essentially two elements of the described or the alleged crime. It's the president's efforts to directly incite the mob to go attack the Capitol, but also the president's effort.
Giuliani says that Trump does have lawyers for his impeachment. I don't know that's actually been announced yet. After this, we're going to watch the beginning of Hannity because we'll get all the scoop there.
To pressure elections officials into altering the election results, his call to those election officials in Georgia.
Yep.
Since then, through public reporting, led by the New York Times, we have also learned that he tried to get the Justice Department to alter the election results, to void the election results in Georgia. Now, you called for that to be investigated by the Inspector General, and you also called it attempted sedition.
Yes.
Should that be part of what the president is tried for?
Well, the articles came in before that happened, and I don't think it would make sense. I think there's more than sufficient evidence to convict the president based on the articles the House sent.
Yeah.
But I'm sure members will look at that, and if it's up to the managers, the House managers who come over, if they want to bring that up, I'm sure it will be relevant and people will weigh that in their minds. I mean, another issue that was not part of their articles, but to me goes again to the president's guilt, although their articles are more than enough. Once they were there, the insurrection is here. I shouldn't say there. They were here.
True.
He didn't call for them to leave. I called the acting attorney general, I called the acting secretary of defense and said, get him to call right now and say, you leave right now. And then 2 hours later, he gave this statement that was on the just like Charlottesville, on the one hand, on the other hand. Utter bull. Can't say the
We love you. You're very special, is what he told them.
last word on your TV show.
I can anticipate what it was going to be.
I figured you might.
It's time to go home in peace after raiding the Capitol for a few hours.
You mentioned witnesses, the question of whether there would be witnesses. Is that decided that there will not be witnesses?
No, we have only negotiated the preliminary motions in the trial, how long it should be, when the articles are brought in, when we're sworn in, and how long they have to prepare their motions. We've set the date when the trial starts, which is the 8th of February, that week. But we have not negotiated the details of the trial, and we will. Hopefully we can come to an agreement. We don't want to give the Republicans an excuse that it was unfair. On the other hand, we don't want them to delay it forever either.
Now those negotiations are happening alongside the negotiations about the organizing resolution of the Senate.
Breaking news, Marcy says that McConnell has dropped his demands for the filibuster because McConnell wants to keep the filibuster because if you're not in power, you really want the filibuster. And you get rid of the filibuster, it's probably never coming back because it's just silly. Should get rid of the whole Senate if we want to talk about it specifically, but the filibuster keeps the government from operating. Majority rules, oh, the filibuster protects the minority. No, it doesn't.
Well, there's not much we've told McConnell no on the organizing resolution, and that's that. So there's no negotiations on that. We've given him what he should do, which is come to agree to what was done in 2001, which is fair. And if not, as I said, stay tuned.
If not, you have a plan in mind that you are not willing to share.
I am not willing to share. And
How about if I ask again?
There are ways to deal with it.
There are ways to deal with it.
Okay, let's jump over to Lawrence quickly here because it's live right there, and we'll see if that is true or if Marcy's a big fat liar. Lawrence O'Donnell. He's not Mitch McConnell. Okay, we'll join it live, and we'll jump back just a little bit here. Or we won't join it live, because Yahoo TV just doesn't want to do it. Go! Go! Start from the beginning, then. How about that? How about I force you to? All right.
Our credit. We say enough
is a little bit unclear, at least at this moment.
Okay, there is breaking news. That's what it is.
And we know.
I just want to read what Senator Schumer said when Rachel asked him, what are you going to do if Mitch McConnell doesn't reach an agreement on this? And Senator Schumer said, we've been thinking about this. Stay tuned. And Rachel asked, do you have tricks up your sleeve? And, of course, he laughed and he said, stay tuned. Ezra, he just kept saying stay tuned, which in the close-up video was a very direct threat to Mitch McConnell of the so-called nuclear option, which would have blown up the minority rights to filibuster obstructionism completely.
Perhaps I seem to be somewhat less happy with how this all resolved than everybody else is. Senator Sinema and Senator Manchin came out today, Democrats from Arizona and West Virginia, and they said that they would absolutely under no circumstances be the vote to abolish the filibuster. Now, as Norm says, there are ways you can reform it that maybe technically what they're saying is they'd be open to those. I would have been happier to see Sinema and Manchin come out and say with Leader Schumer that if Mitch McConnell and the Republicans are even going to block the resolution to put the Senate together this year, then of course they would support the the nuclear option in order to get rid of the filibuster, even if it's only on the organizing motion. So I think the real question here is what is in Sinema and Manchin's heads? Is that a coordinated move with Schumer where he said, look, go give these statements and give McConnell a fig leaf to back down? Or if they are really coming out and saying that they are going to oppose any movement to make the Senate work better? Because really what we're seeing here is McConnell flexing muscle to block things, even for a little bit, that shouldn't ever be blocked. He is signaling exactly how obstructionist he will be. And at least a couple of Democrats, instead of coming out and punishing him for it, said that they would, in principle, support his demand to leave the filibuster unchanged. So I would say whether or not this portends a Senate that works or a Senate that completely fails is a little bit unclear, at least at this moment.
Yes, it is. Okay, so let's just jump over to Hannity now and watch the first few minutes of his monologue and see if he has anybody interesting on as a guest.
By in New York. Take it away. Hey, Sean. All right, Tucker, thank you on this Monday. Welcome to Hannity. We are tracking multiple major stories that will impact your life, including the shocking scene from New York City. Look at this. Friday night, 11:30 a.m., broad daylight, the streets of New York City. That man right there, beaten, slashed, robbed by a group of 12 people. Now, make no mistake, violent crime is now spiraling out of control in many of America's major cities. Yep, it was back to rioting in Portland, Seattle, and Denver last week. Now, this is what defunding the police and helping people arrested get free bail, Kamala Harris, and not speaking out.
Fun fact, the budgetary cuts in New York City have not affected the police yet. So Fun fact, there was crime in New York City before Kamala Harris became vice. She's been vice president for 5 days. Yeah, sounds right.
And calling riots like last summer. This is what it looks like. More scary times. We'll have a lot more tonight. Also, Nancy Pelosi's prayerful and solemn duty, radical extremists, to smear the president, even out of office, for all eternity, has now officially reached the Senate. Coming up, we'll have...
They impeached him while he was in office. That was Nancy Pelosi's duty. She did it. Walking the articles over through Statuary Hall, we all know so much about the Capitol now. We had no business knowing anything about the Capitol up until now. But yeah, that is Statuary Hall.
The very latest details from the Democrats' unconstitutional post-presidential...
It is not unconstitutional.
...impeachment charade, by the way, which is falling apart. It is now officially blowing up in the faces of Biden and every other...
It's official. It's officially blowing up. There's actually a group, an official group, elected and appointed by a series of senators who have marked it official. They stamp it, and then they make 7 copies. One of them goes to the National Registry, and now it's official. It's blowing up in their faces, literally blowing up. Several Democratic Antifa members, I'm going to say, they now have no faces because it blew up in there. It's a tragedy.
Democrat in the swamp. Senators, by the way, Republicans, Rubio, Cornyn, Cotton, all now forcefully speaking out against the impeachment. As of today, it's a foregone conclusion. There will not be...
Wait, wasn't it Cotton that like 3 days ago they discovered that he was never really an Army Ranger or Navy SEAL or whatever he said he was? Wasn't that Cotton?
A conviction, but an acquittal. Everyone knows the trial's dead on arrival. Get this, Chief Justice John Roberts rightly now refusing to preside over the trial, the latest Schiff show. And of course, if Biden really cared about unity, he could put a stop to the Schiff show right now. So much.
He's calling it the Schiff show. I don't know how much Adam Schiff is going to even be involved in. Is he even hold on. I don't remember seeing him as an impeachment manager. Hold on. Let me impeachment managers. Okay, meet the impeachment managers. It'll be 9 members of Congress. Okay, who's it going to be? Jamie Raskin of Maryland. Who else? Diane Gannett. No, sorry. Gadgetti? I don't know who she is. But she's been representing Colorado for 13 years. David Cicilline, Joaquin Castro, Eric Swalwell, Ted Lieu, Stacey Plaskett, Madeline Dean, and Joe Negussi. Stop calling it a Schiff show.
Much for that.
Not a ranger. Was it him that he in his campaign website or something he said he was a ranger? I just breezed through it because as a Cotton already to me is completely disqualified to be a human being. But then, yeah, it's amazing how many times these guys brag about these fantastic deeds that they did for the good of the country when it's like, no, there are records on that. You want to brag about something that no one really remembers. Like that time I gave $5 to a waitress. You can't prove I didn't do that.
Unity BS.
And I'm not allowed to talk about my Air Force service. So let's move on.
Words, no meaning, just, smoke and mirrors. Obviously, he doesn't care about unity at all whatsoever. No. He's out of office. Aren't you happy? All right. Now, by the way, that is why the first 24 now executive orders, take a look at this. It reads like a wish list for the radical extreme socialist base. They're the ones in charge.
Imagine winning an election and then doing what you said you were going to do. Imagine that. How dare Biden?
And Biden is now halting all border wall construction. He's stopping all deportation.
Well, Trump just said that the border wall was done. So that's what he did it. We did it. We got it done. We finished the border wall. That's what he said.
Amnesty is on the way. He's incorporating illegal immigrants into the U.S. Census and pausing student loan payments. And, of course, he's waging a war.
Oh, no! Biden is pausing student loan payments. Socialism! Oh, the communists are here. Hold on. That's Antifa outside. They're throwing soup bags at me. What is the problem with pausing student loan payments? Which are very, very low interest anyway. How is that hurting anybody? Oh my God. The temerity. Come on, load for me. Interesting. It won't. Okay, moving on.
On American oil and gas. And this has real consequences for real people, our friends, our neighbors. Thousands of people now being laid off.
Canada. Real consequences for Canada. By the way, global warming and climate change affect the entire planet. And I'm from Alberta. I have friends and relatives who work in the oil industry in Alberta.
Off because of Biden's cancellation.
The Keystone Pipeline was scheduled to overall provide about 35 permanent jobs. 35. So yeah, it takes a lot of people to construct them. But then once you've done your couple of months, multiple months, let's say a year worth of construction, that's it. You move on to something else. You're in construction. You know what's booming right now? Housing construction. So if you're a construction worker, maybe, I'm sure there are those that specialize in oil rigs, etc., or oil pipelines. Yeah, there are those. There's still plenty of building going on, but Keystone was a class in and of itself.
Of the Keystone XL pipeline, the Biden-Obama administration, remember, they, in their years, 4 years ago, plus had predicted $2 billion in wages if the pipeline was ever built. But they never lifted a finger. Donald Trump got that done, and now Biden's radical agenda is literally taking thousands of American jobs.
I mean, it's not that radical if the American people chose him, right? That's literally centrist. Because you have a mean of the country, and it...
hurting American families, all while economic stress is the norm for way too many of our fellow Americans because of COVID and, of course, the subsequent oppressive lockdowns. We're going to hear from one of those workers, a fellow American, in just a moment. What's his life like now? And with the stroke of a pen, this guy lost his job. So to Joe's fawning fans and big tech, the media mob, this is why, yes, I'm critical now, this early, of the Biden administration. This is why I rightly called his first week in office a pending disaster. The mob saying, Hannity, he's already saying that Joe's failing. Well, these policies will always fail. Why? I have chapter 4 of my book, Live Free or Die America.
Yeah, this is Donald Trump.
This is a big day. Over 400 miles, and we'll soon be finished with the wall, and it's made some big difference.
Yeah, soon be finished with the wall. Oh no, they're stopping construction of a wall that back in... I'll tell you exactly when this was. Back on November 2nd, before the election. Back 100 years ago, before the election, Trump claimed that the wall would soon be finished.
America and the world on the brink. It actually has a whole chapter in there that says socialism and its history of failure. It will fail again. This is what...
That's what it says? It actually says socialism and its history of failure. What does it say about that? Does it just say that? Socialism and its history of failure. Chapter 7. Communism.
Why we will continue to vet Joe Biden and all of his policies. 99% so-called journalists in this country, they're now on...
Well, they're journalists. They're not we're so calling them journalists because they're journalists. It's okay. You are not a journalist, admittedly. You are an entertainer. You've admitted this. You've had to.
Well, we'll call it a sycophantic vacation. So per usual, we end up doing their jobs for them all. And at the same time,
sycophantal vacation. Okay.
Time we'll continue to fight back against cancel culture. It is now.
Thank you, lovely apples.
Now worse than ever, more oppressive than ever, more chilling than ever.
Yeah.
It's an embrace of authoritarianism. And
I always look at canceled, and I think there should be an extra L in there. I'm a terrible speller. I'm like a reading disorder of some kind, but I just don't think canceled looks right. You know what else is a strange word? Yogurt. Just say yogurt a few times. After about 4 or 5 times, 4.7 times exactly, yogurt doesn't sound right. Let's do it together. Here, with it. We'll do it at home. Do it at home with me. Yogurt. 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 Gurt. Yogurt. See? It just doesn't sound right anymore. It's a weird word. Yogurt. Gurt. Gurt. G-U-R-T. Gurt. It's the quality you're paying for, kids.
some on the left are calling on the government to censor.
No one's paying any attention to what I'm saying. You guys are all talking about like healthcare.
Regulate.
My grandmother had GERD. Wow, painful. She took medicine for it, but it gave her the runs, which then was called yogurt.
Freedom of speech. In other words, speech they don't like or agree with. And some even on so-called news networks, fake news, CNN, MSDNC, they want Fox News ripped off the airways. They want this show canceled. Talk about cancel culture.
Everyone wants your show canceled. Judges agree.
Sure. They have the...
By the way, their ratings are like a fifth of what they were before the election now. Fox News has plummeted because it's no fun for these people anymore.
Biggest prop...
LP. What, LP?
Propagandists, they themselves, they're the biggest purveyors of lies, hatred in the country. I have 5 years worth of never-ending material. Others have continuously...
And you play it endlessly. How many times you got to show us that Madonna threatening to blow up the White House? Guess what? Did she do that? Did she tell her followers? Was she at a concert with 30,000 fans and did she tell them, go down to the White House and blow it up? No, she did not. Did the president say, I'm right here, right now. You guys are dressed like a paramilitary group. I want you to march down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania Avenue. Don't we love Pennsylvania Avenue? And fight like hell. Did he do that? Yes, he did. Yes, he did that.
Enthusiastically, praise big tech censorship of conservatives and of
roads. Are roads a funny word? Roads. 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 I drive on the road. Road is a funny word. You're absolutely correct, Rick. Road.
Of course, there's
yogurt. Yogurt.
Censorship of real stories in the lead up to the election. Senator Josh Hawley, he had a book deal canceled. They actually wanted to use the 14th Amendment to remove him and Ted Cruz for daring to ask for an audit of election. Well, sorry if you disagree, but that's what this country was built on. All because they supported, yes, a 10-day audit of our election results, something Democrats in
Wait, what is he saying? Our country was built on disagreement?
The past have done. Off the airways. They want this show canceled. Talk about cancel.
We talked about that.
Censorship of conservatives. And, of course, there's censorship of real stories in the lead up to the election. Senator Josh Hawley, he had a book deal canceled. They actually wanted to use the 14th Amendment to remove...
And he got another publisher, and the publisher's going to publish his book. And it's probably going to be a bestseller. So, okay. One private business decided they're not going to publish the book. Another business decided to publish the book. That's fine. That's totally allowed. You know what? If I spit in the French fries at McDonald's, they're going to say, you can't work here. I'll go work at Burger King. And when I give somebody their French fries, if I give them the ranch sauce at the same time, I expect that they'll give me $5.
him and Ted Cruz for daring to ask for an audit of election. Well, sorry if you disagree, but that's what
an audit of election. Not an election, specifically? An audit of election. Do they think that's a thing? Someone in my 7th grade class asked, how do you spell won't before class on the first day of school? And suddenly it looked too weird to all of us to be right. Won't. Yeah, because will not is what won't means, but it's not spelt like that. It should be wilt, not won't.
what this country was built on, all because they supported, yes, a 10-day audit of our election results, something Democrats in the past have done. In an op-ed, New York Post, Senator Hawley encouraged all Americans to take a stand against this muzzling of America. Senator Hawley will join us in just a moment. First,
Okay, hold on. Senator Hawley is muzzled. In just a moment, he's going to be on international TV. He'll join us right here. He will be speaking to you. You won't be able to hear him because by law, we have to turn his mic off. He's been muzzled. God, I wish I was muzzled.
We begin this Monday night. We turn our attention to the Biden administration's ongoing, quote, efforts against COVID.
Rural is one of the weirdest words. It absolutely is, which is why 30 Rock's Rural Juror is such a funny movie title.
19. Remember, it was just a few months ago when then candidate Biden frequently used the pandemic to bash President Trump in one of his rare appearances. In fact, he personally blamed the president pretty much for every COVID death. Not China. No, the dog bites, the bee stings, you're feeling sad. There's only one person on this earth to blame, Donald Trump. Take a look.
I don't think he ever blamed Trump for a dog biting or a bee stinging.
If the president had done his job, had done his job from the beginning, all the people would still be alive. All the people, I'm not making this up, just look at the data. Look at the data.
Look at the data. Okay.
Many people would be. He's absolutely right.
Okay. Joe and Kamala claim they had a...
All the people? No, but do sometimes people use hyperbole to make a point? Yes, they do.
Plan to beat COVID-19. They vowed to, quote, get the virus under control, deliver immediate relief to working families. Apparently, that's not the case. Look at this, Joe. Guess what? Now there's nothing he can really do to change the trajectory of the pandemic. That's not what he was saying in the campaign at all. Take a look.
If we fail to act, there will be a wave of evictions and foreclosures in the coming months as this pandemic rages on, because there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months.
Now, keep in mind, multiple vaccines have already...
Yeah, and scientifically speaking, the trajectory of the virus is going to be to keep spreading, and it will mutate, which is already doing, and potentially become more infectious and possibly more virulent. So, the trajectory and the efficacy, the rate of spread, those are all different things. The virulence, different thing. You can't control the virulence. Can you control the spread? Yes. But the trajectory is a different metric.
Been deployed.
Excuses. Joe's been around for what? It's been 5 days. 5 days, and it's already a failed presidency, according to Hannity.
Thanks to Donald Trump. And by the way, around 1 million doses are being distributed and being put in people's arms every single day.
Okay, let's go and watch. I want to see that press conference. I've got it queued up here. Let's go watch the press conference. I've had enough of Hannity already. It said the entire world. Where is it? Here it is. Come on. Where'd it go? Oh, it's over here. You guys. You and your Windows. Here's President of the United States.
If that's okay with you.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna jump ahead to the questions. What am I streaming on? I'm streaming on. Is the question what platforms? YouTube, Twitter, YouTube. If the best one is YouTube because it's quickest chat. YouTube.com/KevinLeeFather. If that's the question, I hope I answered that question. Okay, we'll skip ahead to questions.
To say we're not going to buy an American of vehicles. As an entrepreneur.
Thank you, Mr. President. Here we go. I was going to sign the executive orders.
Take your questions.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jonathan Lemire with you, sir.
Oh, Stephanie's here. Stephanie, much better now. Good to hear, Stephanie. We were asking about you earlier.
Associated Press. Two topics, if I may.
Or if you're old enough, you'd remember when they used to say, he came by and asked after you. I've never asked after someone, but that's what used to, before we had cell phones, before you could text you up, people would come by, young men would come by and ask after young women.
First, you have made reopening schools a central part of your first 100 days agenda, and you've long portrayed yourself as an ally to the teachers and the unions. Right now, the Chicago Teachers Union has refused. They've defied an order to return to in-person classrooms because of a lack of vaccinations. Do you believe, sir, that teachers should return to schools now?
I believe.
Oh, C-SPAN's going to do its pausing thing. You guys continue to watch that. I'm going to pull up, see if I can pull up Firefox. And what time was this? Okay, it's usually it pauses and then it comes back. So.
For the help that's in those schools maintaining the facilities. We need new ventilation systems in those schools. We need testing for people coming in and out of the classes. We need testing for teachers as well as students.
Go, C-SPAN.
And we need the capacity to know that, in fact, the circumstance in the school is safe and secure for everyone. For example, there's no reason why the clear guidance will be that every school should be thoroughly sanitized from the lavatories to the hallways. And so this is about making, and none of the school districts that I'm aware of, there may be some, public school districts have insisted that all those pieces be in place. And I might add, just
sorry guys, it's C-SPAN doing
same kind of thing I hope we can do with small businesses and businesses, making sure they have the capacity to test their workers when they come in, to make sure they have plastic dividers between their booths and in their restaurants, et cetera, to make sure they can sanitize. So it's not so much about the idea teachers aren't going to work. The teachers I know, they want to work. They just want to work in a safe environment and as safe as we can rationally make it. And we can do that. And we should be able to open up.
Okay, here we go. About 13 minutes in, I will bring over this feed that shouldn't pause for us. So we'll try and find that question. 13, 14.
Solar winds or whether it's a report.
Oh, God, that's super quiet. Sorry, I'll find another feed. Sorry, guys. I'll get rid of that feed.
Every school, kindergarten through 8th grade, if in fact we administer these tests. And it'll have the added advantage, I might add, of putting millions of people back to work. All those mothers and fathers that are home taking care of their children rather than go to work even when they can work. They're not able to do it unless they have the luxury of working distance-wise like many of us do. They're not able to do it. And so this is about generating economic growth overall as well.
Great. Alex from Reuters.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Alex Alper from Reuters. I wanted to ask a question about Navalny. If you are considering imposing sanctions on any of the individuals involved in his attempted poisoning and or his arrest when he returned from Germany, and if not, is that related to your concerns about it potentially derailing a New START extension? Thank you.
I find that we can both operate in the mutual self-interest of our countries as a New START agreement and make it clear to Russia that we are very concerned about their...
Okay, pausing is going to drive me crazy. Let's bring up, this is another feed. Let's see what the volume's like. There's nobody there.
Have a chance.
No, the volume's terrible. Hold on. Yeah, no, I can make it a single feed for you guys. I can pump the volume up. We're going to do that. Give me a second here, guys. Give me a second. And we'll get rid of full screen here. We'll go here. I'll pump up the volume on it. Okay. I hope this doesn't continue for the remainder of the term. And we'll see where we are here.
The circumstance in the school is safe and secure for everyone.
There we go.
Individuals involved in his attempted poisoning.
We heard that question.
I want to do it. Here's why I think we need to do it. And what kind of support can or can't you? Making it clear to the leadership in the House and the Senate, as well as the group of 16, bipartisan group, as well as Republican individuals who have an interest in the issues that are in my package, and saying, here's what I'm doing, here's why I want to do it, here's why I think we need to do it,
on YouTube, hit
and
the like button.
what kind of support can or can't you give to that. And then we go on to the way in which we deal with legislation.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to interrupt this because we're trying to break YouTube right now. There's a metric on YouTube I didn't even know existed. Do me a favor at some point here. Go, when you're on my channel, they have these weird things called community posts, and I didn't even know about them before today, but apparently they can launch you virally. The YouTube algorithm seems to be screwed up. Somebody discovered this and posted about it today. So if you're on my channel, if you're on somebody's channel on your phone or whatever, hit the community tab and then participate. I've got some polls here about what kind of cheese is the best kind of cookie. Do a caption thing here. If you get a chance, go to my community thing and just do that. Well, I'm going to see if it takes off because this guy's saying that if you do the community post, it's insane the number of people that will see your community post compared to your number of videos, and then you end up with a whole bunch more subscribers. So, if you get a chance, do that for me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Back to Biden.
All the time. You know, we didn't have any votes for the recovery.
Likes, anything you do to interact with YouTube videos, being it liking or disliking or commenting in the chat room, commenting underneath videos or whatever, that all helps the video be seen by other people because it boosts it in the algorithm. Apparently, the algorithm for YouTube is a little bit broken right now, so the community stuff, it boosts it so many times more than if you're just a regular video. So, because they introduced the community thing a couple of years ago, and it's a great idea, but it wasn't really doing anything for creators, so they just kind of stopped using it. So YouTube said, well, we'll kind of tweak it so that it boosts quite a bit, and that's what's happened. And so a guy with about 1 million followers, 2 million followers, did a community post, and within a couple of days it had 25 million views, and it's just a random clickbait post with a whole bunch of keywords from YouTube. There's a video about it. It's the Spiffy Brit, if you want to go check it out. The Spiffy Brit is his name, and he's quite entertaining. But you can put keywords like Minecraft and Britney Spears, well, not Britney, Tiffany, Taylor Swift, Maroon 5, etc. Things that people are searching for on YouTube, and suddenly the community notes are a lot more valuable. But yes, liking a video, chatting on a video, subscribe, all of these things help boost that person.
Package. When Barack and I came into office, we were short 3 votes. We didn't know we had the votes until the day of bringing it up. And but here's the deal. You know, it's interesting, and I know you ask a lot of these questions. You know the answers, but you have to help educate the public as well. I'm not suggesting you don't know what I'm about to say. No one wants to give up on their position until there's no other alternative. They have to make a decision that they don't support what is being proposed, or they insist on what they have, or they let it all go away, fall down. I think we're far from that point right now. The decision to use reconciliation will depend upon how these negotiations go. And let me make clear about negotiations. I've always believed part of negotiation on the part of a president and or a chairman of a committee trying to get a major piece of legislation passed, is about consultation. It's not enough for me just to come up to you and say, I like this, I expect you to support it. I want to explain to you why I think it's so important in this package that we have to provide for money for additional vaccines, why I think it's so important why we provide for money to extend unemployment benefits, why I think it's so important that we provide money to provide for the ability of people not to be thrown out of their apartments during this pandemic because they can't afford their rent. And to make the case to you why I think and what I think the priorities within this piece of...
Oh, did I say cheater? Good enough. I like it. I love cheater cheese. That's how they make Cheetos. They make them from cheater cheese. You guys just don't, you're not aware of cheater cheese. Doesn't mean it's not a thing.
We think the priorities are, I apologize, were within this legislation.
Thanks,
and
LP.
I don't expect we'll know whether we have an agreement and to what extent the entire package will be able to pass or not pass until we get right down to the very end of this process, which will be probably in a couple weeks. But the point is, this is just a process beginning.
Thank you, Mr. President. Annie Linsky with the Washington Post. I wanted to ask you a little bit about one of the sort of major themes of your campaign and how you sort of intend to measure and enact it, and that is the idea of unity. If you could talk a little bit about what you see unity as being. There are some people who are defining it as being bipartisan. Others are saying it is what most of the people in the country, defined by some poll, might believe, or any sort of number of, or perhaps it's 50 plus 1, or 50 plus 2, or 75%. So given that it is such a key part of your message and your promise, can you talk and reflect a little bit more about what is unity when you see it and as you define it?
Annie, I think it makes up several of the issues, the points you made. One is unity requires you to eliminate the vitriol. Make anything that you disagree with about the other person's personality or their lack of integrity or they're not decent legislators and the like.
Yeah.
So we have to get rid of that. And I think that's
true. Even if the other side, they are complete, Satan fuckers. You don't say that out loud. Good point.
Already beginning to change, but God knows where things go, number one. Unity also is trying to reflect what the majority of the American people, Democrat, Republican, Independent, think is within the fulcrum of what needs to be done to make their lives and the lives of Americans better. For example, if you look at the data, and I'm not claiming the polling data to be exact, but if you look at the data, you have, I think it's, I hope I'm saying it gets correct. You may correct me if I get the number wrong. I think it's 57, 58% of the American people, including Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, think that we have to do something about the COVID vaccine. We have to do something about making sure that people who are hurting badly, can't eat, don't have food, are in a position where they're about to be thrown out of their apartments, et cetera, being able to have an opportunity to get a job, that they all think we should be acting, we should be doing more. Unity also is trying to get, at a minimum, if you pass a piece of legislation that breaks down on party lines, but it gets passed, it doesn't mean there wasn't unity, it just means it wasn't bipartisan. I prefer these things to be bipartisan because I'm trying to generate some consensus and take sort of the, how can I say it, the vitriol out of all of this. Because I'm confident from my discussions. There are a number of Republicans who know we have to do something about food insecurity for people in this pandemic. I'm confident they know we have to do something about figuring out how to get children back in school. And there's easy ways to deal with this. One, if you're anti-union, you can say it's all because of teachers. If you want to make a case, though, that it's complicated, you say, well, what do you have to do to make it safe to get in those schools? Now, we're going to have arguments. For example, I propose that because it was bipartisan, I thought it would increase the prospects of passage, the additional $1,400 in direct cash payment to folks. Well, there's legitimate reason for people to say, do you have the lines drawn the exact right way? Should it go to anybody making over X number of dollars or why? I'm open to negotiate those things. That's all. I picked it because I thought it was rational, reasonable, and it had overwhelming bipartisan support in the House when it passed.
Thanks, Michelle.
But this is all a bit of a moving target. In terms of the precision with which this goes, you're asking about unity, 51 votes, bipartisan, et cetera. The other piece of this is that the one thing that gives me hope that we're not only going to sort of stay away from the ad hominem attacks on one another is that there is an overwhelming consensus among the major economists at home and in the world that the way to avoid a deeper recession moving in the direction of losing our competitive capacity is to spend money now. From across the board, every major institution has said, if we don't invest now.
Yeah, this came with the food, and it's a spoon. You can see the spoon part. It's really bright. Sorry, the light shines. Studio lights shine right out. And then it's got this kind of tongs. But it doesn't come apart easily. I'm not really sure. I don't want to break it, but it's a little pinchy thing. I don't really. And it's rice. Rice and curry sauce. You put them together. You cut the line right there, and then you put them together for 2 minutes, and then you dump them into the bowl, and you eat them with your spoon tongs or sprongs or stongs. I think Rick called it stongs. I'm not sure what the stong part of it is for, but I found out just a few months ago because of a YouTube video or a Twitter video or something that there was something about chopsticks that I didn't even know. That you can. Now I've forgotten what it is. There's something cool about chopsticks that you can do that I didn't even realize that you could do, which is spatongs. I like it. So it's a spatong. That's better than stongs.
We're going to lose so much altitude in terms of our employment base and our economic growth, it's going to be harder to reestablish it. We can afford to do it now. As a matter of fact, I think the response has been, we can't afford not to invest now. We can't afford to fail to invest now. And
I don't know. There's some sort of life hack with either, you know what it is? I think it's the chopsticks that you get that you get them in the pack, but there was some sort of way to either rest the chopsticks or what was it? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? It was a life hack for chopsticks. Hold on.
I think there's a growing realization of that on the part of all but some very, very hard-edged partisans, maybe on both sides, but I think there is a growing consensus. Whether we get it all done exactly the way I want it remains to be seen. But I'm confident that we can work our way through. We have to work our way through because, as I've said 100 times, there is no ability in a democracy for it to function without the ability to reach consensus. Otherwise, it just becomes executive fiat or battleground issues that get us virtually nowhere. I don't want to hold my colleague may know, the vice president, but you know, I think there were very few debates on the Senate floor the whole last year on almost any issue. Well, that benefits no one. Doesn't inform anybody, doesn't allow the public to make judgments about who they think is right or wrong. So I am optimistic that it may take some time, but over the year, the way if we treat each other with respect, and we're going to argue like hell. I'm confident of that, believe me, I know that. I've been there. But I think we can do it in a way that we can get things done for the American people.
Great. Last question, Josh from Bloomberg.
Josh, I don't trust you with a mic, huh? I don't know, man.
That's fine. I wouldn't either. Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate you taking the question. You mentioned
the grooves in the soy sauce dish. That sounds right. That you can rest your chopsticks there? Is that what I'm thinking of at random? But rubber bands, yeah, you can do rubber bands on chopsticks, but it was something else that already exists that I've been to sushi places 1,000 times and I've never done. And I can't. It might be the grooves in the soy sauce dish. It's hard to say too.
You mentioned just now that you might know in a couple of weeks. Can I ask whether it's more important for you to get something passed in a short time frame like that, or would you be willing to wait longer to get more bipartisan support? And might I also ask that one of the pillars is the vaccine funding. When do you think any American who wants to get the shot will be able to get the shot?
Well, I'll try to answer the three parts of your question as I heard them. One, time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. And I must tell you, I'm reluctant to cherry pick and take out one or two items here and then have to go through it again, because these all are kind of, they go sort of hand in glove, each of these issues. Number one. Number two, we are optimistic that we will have enough vaccine, and in very short order. We, as you know, we came in office without knowledge of how much vaccine was being held in abeyance or available. Now that we're here, we've been around a week or so, we now have that. And we've gotten commitments from some of the producers that they will, in fact, produce more vaccine in a relatively short period of time and then continue that down the road. So I'm quite confident that we will be in a position within the next 3 weeks or so to be vaccinating people at the range of 1 million a day or in excess of that. That is I promised that we would get at least 100 million vaccinations. That's not people, because sometimes you need more than one shot, the vaccination, but 100 million shots in people's arms of the vaccine. I think with the grace of God and the goodwill of the neighbor.
Yeah, so 100 million. So people are going to start. We should hit more than 100 million people, but they've been talking about 100 million vaccinations. That includes probably 30 million, 40 million people who've had their second vaccination, because that counts as a vaccination as well. I found it, guys. This is what it is. This is off of LifeBuzz. So that's what it is right there. So you get your chopsticks in the package, right? And they have the little wooden thing at the end here. Snap it off and then use it to rest the chopsticks. So simple, but I've never done it. Because a little piece of wood, you break the chopsticks apart and you have that little piece of wood, kind of that little extra hockey stick butt on the end of each of your chopsticks. This is how I use chopsticks, apparently. Here's my food, and I just jam the chopstick. Give me some rice. So yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to snap that off first, and then use it to rest your chopsticks on, so they don't get dirty. Never did it that way. I'm trying to think. You just gotta keep the chopsticks in your hand most of the time. They're not that heavy. Like what? I suppose if I got up to go to the restroom, I'd put it over the bowl. By the way, putting it over the bowl, poor chopsticks etiquette. You don't want to do that. In Japan, there are many cultures that use that. This is what I've heard. Is there somebody Japanese in here? Is Hero watching? So we have several people, Japanese people who watch the broadcast. Is anybody? What I've heard is that putting them over the dish, over your bowl of udon or whatever, like you just stick your fork in there or whatever, you don't want to do that. It's very poor etiquette for some reason. Or it's telling the chef or whoever's making it something else. There's a number of different ways. Rich, is your wife around? Does she know in Japan is putting your chopsticks on the bowl? You know what I'm saying, right? I'm describing what I'm talking about here. You tape I don't want to use anything on the bowl I'm about to eat, but yeah, here, some glasses. You take your chopsticks and you lay them across the bowl like that. There's nothing in here. And I'm not going to use this bowl anyway. Unless I have a nice hat. See? I could be like a plain waitress in the 50s. That's a joke, by the way. I don't call them plane waitresses. I call them what they are, sky whores. No, I don't. Flight attendants. But I do know a lot of flight attendants. I have some really great friends that are flight attendants. And I've had this conversation a lot with people. Well, we're not stewardesses. You can call them stewardesses but some of them get very antsy about that, about being called a stewardess. It's like, okay, just let's take it easy with the whole getting upset, okay? It shouldn't be offensive, but I get it. You're a flight attendant. That's great. And really, they're safety officers is what they are, but we call them flight attendants. So inevitably, one of them comes to the part we're not called stewardesses. That is not what we are. And I go, I know, right? You guys are sky whores. And then you know whether or not they've got a sense of humor if they laugh at that. So don't. Don't do that. Don't try that. They are there for safety. Your flight attendant hopefully never has to do their job ever. The whole handing out, like giving you the full can of soda, that's not really their job. Yes, they do it. That's just the bonus. When the captain says we're going down, prepare for crash landing, that's when the flight attendants do their job. What was it? I don't want to get into it right now, but there's a couple of stories about flight attendants that just, I'm not a flight attendant. I don't know that I can handle being a flight attendant in an emergency, but there are two kinds of people. There are people who like Oreos, and then there's good people. No, it's got nothing to do with anything. Marcy says never fuck with a Hawaiian flight attendant. That's right, because that's a lot of territory for a search party, and they're not going to bother. What was it? I'll look it up at some point. I'll tell you guys the story about the flight attendant another time. As it is right now, we've been doing this for too long, and I really have to get to my coconut curry. But, oh, that was weird. I could see right through it. Now that you know how to use the butt end of the chopsticks, let's finish up with President Biden here.
And the creek not rising, as the old saying goes. I think we may be able to get that to 1.5 million a day rather than 1 million a day. But we have to meet that.
Rich says if the flight's going down, that's when I need my soda. It's always when it's the cart's coming through that suddenly it's like, buckle up, everybody. This is Captain speaking. I've asked the flight attendants to return to their seats. We're going to have a bumpy ride. God damn it, I'm hungry. But my pretzels.
That goal of 1 million a day. And everything points that we're going to have, enough vaccine, B, enough syringes and all the paraphernalia needed to store, keep, inject, move into your arm the vaccine. 3, a number of vaccinators. People.
Again, this is the guy who the right claims has no idea where he is. Doesn't even know he's alive. And he's answering a multi-part question over the course of several minutes and nailing all of it. Meanwhile, Trump would have told you a story about how he invented football by this point.
Administering the vaccine.
My uncle went to MIT. He is a genius. A lot of people don't know that. He knows all about the nuclear.
Which is not an easy task of those who have those facilities, like the nursing homes and hospitals. They have the people to do it, but they don't have the capacity to do it.
I've been at Random Says that always happens when the cart is a row or two in front of me. Yes, I've been here. This is my seat. This is my airline seat. And then there's always the large human being right here. So I try and get the aisle. So this is me in the aisle. I'm leaning out into the aisle, because that's the only space that I have. My foot is also out in the aisle. And the cart is almost at my foot. And then as soon as I tuck my foot in, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a little bit of turbulence coming. It's nothing to worry. It's a storm coming in from the southwest. But we'll go ahead and ask the flight attendants to discontinue the meal service at this time. I can reach it. I can just pull the tray out for you. Don't leave me. And then the flight attendants, they always look so happy. Just they unlock the cart and they just whoom, back to their seats. I imagine that that's because when the captain says turbulence, they know that it can just go. It can just happen. So again, they're safety officers. Right, and then it continues for the rest of the flight. You don't get your meal. We don't. This is back in the day. This doesn't happen anymore. They don't feed you on the flights anymore. Flight to Hawaii's long flights. Is anybody on the long flight in the last couple of years? Do they still feed you on the very long, the international flights?
To everyone, and so I think we're going to have. We're leaning hard into areas where we produce more vaccinators. We feel confident we can do that. And thirdly, it's really important that we have the fora, the place, the facility, the circumstance where people can show up, stand in line.
At random? Where'd you go? You went to Europe, right, or something? They did before COVID. They did before. They do serve you food on the international. International still feed the cattle. Okay, good. Joanna. Okay.
Line and get their vaccine,
but not on Hawaiian. Hawaiian feeds you. Oh boy, there's a battle going on. Joanna versus Marcy here. One is living in Hawaii. One has a property in Hawaii. Who's telling the truth here, guys? Do they serve food on the Hawaiian flights or not?
Without having
there's no way to find out. So my dad was supposed to. Oh, Marcy, that reminds me. Marcy, you're here. DM me because we need to talk about. Marcy is one of the people. Oh, we never heard back from Phyllis, did we? Phyllis, are you still in here? Phyllis Hatch. Marcy bought a week of timeshare on Kauai. She lives on another island. She bought that week in order to give money to the African charity booksandbricks.org that we raise money for. And we very much appreciate that. And what happened? You can't go, Marcy? DM me. We'll talk about it anyway. Anyway, we appreciate Marcy's generosity. And my dad was talking about it with me the other day and thinks that maybe there's something that can be done, but I need to know more details from you. So DM me, Marcy. Let's finish up with Biden here, and then I'm going to make myself some yellow curry.
Having to stand in line for 8 hours, being able to pick up the phone, call the pharmacy, and get your name on the list, etc. All those mechanical things are really...
So Dr. Howard, you know what? I'll show it, Dr. Howard. I'm going to tell you guys, this is disgusting. Don't look at this if you're not just easily queased, but even medium level queased. Okay? This is... Dr. Howard sent me a picture of her urine bag. Okay? I'll warn you before I put it up. And there appear to be like little shrimp or brine or something visibly floating around in the bag of urine. And I'm going to try and make it through without vomiting. I do have a vomit bowl if it comes to it. I'll show it. I'm going to show it. Some people have been like, yeah, show it. Okay, so I will show it. I will tell you when it goes up. I will tell you when it comes down so that you don't have to look at it if you're queased out by this sort of thing. Okay? They're parasitic worms, apparently. Sea monkeys. Here it is. Hold on. It's coming in 3, 2, 1. Close your eyes. Close your eyes if you don't want to see this. See that? Those guys right there? Oh, I don't know what they're doing in there. I want them gone. I have no interest. It's gone. It's gone off your screen, so you can open up your eyes again. And I can close that window. I swear to God. I have to get it off my screen. Wow. I apologize. I got to do what the people demand. And Dr. Howard did do a $5 super chat earlier, so legally I have to show that.
They sound simple, but they're all consequential when we're trying to get out a minimum of 100 million vaccinations in 100 days and move in the direction where we are well beyond that in the next 100 days so we can get to the point where we reach herd immunity in a country of over 300 million people. Does that answer your question?
Well, my question was at what date or roughly when do you think anyone who wants one would be able to get it?
Wow. Yes. After that 2.5-minute answer, he says, did I answer your question? Who is this guy? No, he's the enemy of the people. You must attack. Make fun of him, scoff at him, and tell him he's a bad journalist. David is asking, did I miss the part where Trump unveiled his amazing healthcare plan? No, you did not. He did so on his last day in office. There was a great website you could sign up on, and as soon as Biden's people came into office, they shut down the website. You can't find it anymore. So that's on Biden.
Oh, I know. I think it'll be this spring. I think we'll be able to do that this spring. And but it's going to be a logistical challenge that exceeds anything we've ever tried in this country. But I think we can do that. I feel confident that by summer we're going to be well on our way to heading toward herd immunity and increasing the access for people who aren't on the list, all the way going down to children and how we deal with that. But I feel good about where we're going, and I think we can get it done.
Wow. Did you hear his stutter, guys? He can't be president. He stuttered. That reminds me, someone had posted something about Dr. Laura Ingraham making fun of Biden's stutter on Friday night. So remind me to check into that sometime.
Now, wait. I know he always asks me tough questions, and he always has an edge to them, but I like him anyway. So go ahead and answer.
Okay, so this has got to be Peter Doocy with Fox News.
Ask the question.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I know she's not a doctor, but I put Dr. Laura and her both in the same bucket, specifically the puke bucket.
So you just said that you think within 3 weeks or so we'll be at the point where there are 1 million vaccines per day, but it seems like...
No, I think we'll get there before that. I said, I misspoke. I hope we'll be able to increase as we go on until we get to the 1.5 million a day. That's my hope.
And then the follow-up to that would be, now that you're president and you're saying there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months, what happened to 2 months ago when you were talking declaratively about I am going to shut down the virus?
Well, I'm going to shut down the virus, but I never said I'd do it in 2 months. I said it took a long time to get here. It's going to take a long time to beat it. And so we have millions of people out there who have the virus. We're just for the first...
Wait, did Peter Doocy honestly think that he was just going to come in and say, hold on, here's the virus switch. Here we go, everybody. And it's gone.
Day, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I've been doing other things this morning, speaking with foreign leaders, but one of the things I think this is one of the first days that the number has actually come down, the number of deaths and the number on a daily basis and the number of hospitalizations, et cetera. It's going to take time. It's going to take a heck of a lot of time. And we still have, as Dr. Fauci constantly points out, it's one thing when we have mass, how can I say it politely, mass disregard of the warnings about not wearing masks and wearing masks and social distancing and failure to social distance and people getting together on holidays in ways that weren't recommended, et cetera. We see, first thing that happens is we see the number of infections go up. Then you see the hospitalizations go up. Then you see the deaths go up. And so we're in this for a while. I mean, what are we now at about 410,000 deaths? And there's
good night, LP. Get some sleep.
Going to be more. The prediction, as I said from the very beginning of getting here, after being sworn in, was the predictions were we're going to see somewhere between a total of 600,000 and 660,000 deaths before we begin to turn the corner in a major way. So, and again, remember, the vaccine, most of the people taking the vaccine, a vast significant number, require 2 shots, and they are an average of 3 weeks apart, and it takes time for it to be sure that you get to that 95% assurance rate. And so it's beginning to move. But
is being factually accurate with these numbers, which is disconcerting for me, because this here right here, this is the ear that I listen to the facts on, and I'm so used to it just listening to Trump as I'm doing something else or whatever, going like, hold on. And this side of my brain here just says, hey, hold on, check that. And then I have to rewind, use the TiVo in my head to listen to what Trump said and go like, oh, come on. But my brain's like, oh, hold on, there's a number. And then I'm like, no, that's fine. That's what he said, which is weird, people.
But I'm confident we will beat this. We will beat this, but we're still going to be talking about this in the summer. We're still going to be dealing with this issue in the early fall. And last point I'll make, and I know you're tired of hearing me saying it, particularly you may be tired of hearing me saying it, and that is that if we wear masks between now and the end of April, the experts tell us we can save 50,000 lives. 50,000 people otherwise would die. Thank you so very much.
All right. So good. Here's what I'm thinking. I changed the name. We're not going to use LieStream anymore until the impeachment trial. I think we'll just call it the LikeStream because I like this country so much better with Biden in charge. It doesn't mean he's going to be perfect. Doesn't mean I'm a Democrat. Doesn't mean anything. I'm still going to think independently and have my opinions on things one way or the other. I think we might become the LikeStream. If you guys have better ideas, let me know. In the meantime, I am going to. We're gonna do more of this as well too. I've been doing a lot of stuff over the last few days, so I will be doing more of this and try and cover the press conferences and stuff like that. What I'd like to do is the stuff that I do when I'm listening to stuff anyway. I just haven't had a lot of chance to listen to stuff. Got a lot of other stuff going on, so. But there will be increased coverage as we move forward here. Again, I appreciate everybody's support, and I am really incredibly hungry. And LikeStream, you like it, Stephanie? So LikeStream it is. And Kevin Lee's daughter wants to watch The Emperor's New Groove with me, and she's been asking for months to watch that with me. So I think I'm going to watch that. And I kind of wanted to show you guys one thing before I left, but I don't think. Next time, if you're a hockey fan, ask me to show you the end of a hockey game, because it was quite exciting last night. In the meantime, here's your closing credits, and they're not finished yet. No, they're not.
Kevin, thanks for that.
Hold on, I'm coming back. Breaking news. The Twitter account for hold on, is my mic working? Yes, it is. The Twitter account for MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell has been suspended. That is the breaking news. So, as of right now, Mike Lindell no longer on the Twitter. He may come back, I don't know, but that is the breaking news of the hour. So, Asen made a little thing here. There's Asen's tribute to Mike Lindell, CEO, MyPillow. Good night, everybody. Be safely.